Hey, what's up? Todd here, and today I'm gonna make game easy for you. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I use personally, and it's literally the only thing you ever have to think about in game, okay? When I'm in field, this is the only thing I'm thinking about. See, the thing is, there's all this knowledge and theory out there, and it should be helping people, it should be making game easier, but for a lot of people, it actually makes game harder because they end up caught up in their head, overanalyzing, trying to be perfect, and then end up actually paralyzed by too much analysis, unable to take action. That's never been the case for me. In fact, every little new bit of knowledge I've ever learned has just made game easier, and it's because I have the foundation of these 3 simple rules. The first rule is decide what your immediate goal is. All right, it doesn't sound like the biggest thing in the world. Trust me, it is. Okay, most guys are unclear what they want from moment to moment. A lot of times when I break down people's footage, I ask them, what are you trying to do right now? And they're like, I don't know. Sleep with her? All right, well, generally, yes, that's what you're trying to do, but they don't know what the next step is. They don't know the next thing, right? First step is, what am I trying to do? I'm just trying to get in a conversation. Next step is, I'm trying to develop attraction. Next step is, I'm trying to get away from her friends. You need to have a specific, discrete step, because when you have a specific, discrete thing you're working on, you can take action toward that thing. If your goal is to start the conversation, well, you can wave, you walk up and say hi, you can tap her on the shoulder, and all of those are totally fine actions. Right? There are a lot of things that aren't fine actions. Walking around mulling about the club, not talking to her is not a fine action. Talking to someone on the other side of the room, not a fine action, right? If you know what your goal is, you're gonna take actions that at least make sense towards that goal. May not be the perfect action, but it will be along the lines of the right action. Okay, so the first thing is know what your goal is. Next thing, and I've kind of alluded to this, step 2, take some action towards that goal. Any action will do. Any action that seems logically reasonable to you towards that goal is fine, okay? Totally fine. If it's the wrong action, you can always calibrate later. It doesn't matter. And the fact of the matter is, whatever you do naturally, whatever you do instinctively, will almost always be either the perfect action or close enough to the right action. And at the very least, it's moving it in the right direction. Now, this is important because number 1, you're gonna take a lot of right action. Number 2, you're gonna learn better this way. When you're taking action, moving toward an outcome, when it works, you're gonna find out that it works. Your brain's gonna go, oh shit, that works, I'll do it next time. When you do something and it doesn't work, your brain's gonna go, oh shit, that didn't work, I won't do it next time, and you learn very, very quickly. But when you're aimless and you're not taking action, your brain has no data to work with, and so you can't learn. So this sort of methodology, determine a goal, take action, is not only the best methodology right then and there, it's also the best methodology for learning. Right? So not only will you have the best possible night, but you'll get better every single night, guaranteed. Okay, finally, the third step, and this is critically important as well, is look at the outcome of your action and determine the next new goal. Okay, so I'll give you a specific example for this one. Let's say that your action was, say you're talking to a girl and it's just kind of platonic. Now, you've decided you need to make it man to woman. So there are a lot of things you could do. You could give her a compliment, you could touch her a little bit, you could gaze into her eyes a little longer than usual. Any of those would work. Let's say you do one of those steps, and let's say she kind of seems off-put by it. Okay, cool. So you had an idea, you took action, and then you got information. You evaluated the action as it didn't work. So now she's a little put off. Your next goal, what makes sense, get her back in a good mood. So what do? Don't escalate, be fun, offer value for a little bit, and then you can, once she's there again, you're gonna say, what's my next goal? Okay, now I'm gonna try and escalate again. It's very simple. It gives you this continuous cycle that you always know exactly what to do in game. So let me explain how to use these 3 steps at any level of game. Let's say you're a beginner and you're working on approach anxiety. Well, your goal, choose a goal that's applicable to you, is to get in lots of interactions. It's to get lots of practice, right? So you don't get too caught up on the results. Your goal is to improve and get better. It's not to get a great outcome from any one interaction. So that takes a ton of the pressure off. It also makes it very clear what your right action is. Your action is start a conversation with anyone, wherever they are. Start the next conversation. Once that's done, cool, good job. Congratulate yourself for a second because you did it. You're moving on your thing. And then what's the next goal? Start the next conversation, right? It's very, very clear when you know what your goal is, what the right action is. It's also very, very easy to keep in a positive mind frame because what you're doing is leading directly towards a goal that is meaningful to you, right? So if you're a beginner and you're too worried about, oh, I need to get a good reaction, you're gonna get in your head and you're gonna worry and you're gonna put too much pressure on the open. But if you're actually intelligent about your goal and you're eyes on the prize for your goal of I want to do a lot of approaches, I want to learn, it makes everything easy. It takes all the pressure off. It makes the process very simple and straightforward. Let's say you're an intermediate guy. And you're getting results, but they're fairly inconsistent. Well, by following this process, two things are gonna happen. Number one, you're gonna avoid having aimless sets. Right, a lot of intermediate guys, they have aimless sets where it's just not going anywhere. It's talk, 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 and then half an hour in, they don't know what's going on, they don't know where they're at, they haven't made it man to woman, that kind of stuff. Well, when you determine a goal, okay, I need to make it man to woman, you're gonna do something along the lines of that goal. You're never again gonna have an aimless set. Secondly, you're gonna learn faster with this method than anything else, because every single thing you do, you're doing with intention. You're making a move with intention, you're immediately getting feedback. It's the fastest way to get feedback for your actions that you'll ever find. And so your brain is immediately computing exactly how to get better at every level of game. And also, you're gonna identify very, very quickly what your sticking points are. A lot of guys I talk to that are intermediate, they don't even know what their sticking points are. Well, if you're like, this is my goal, I'm trying to achieve it, didn't work. This is my goal, trying to achieve it, didn't work. If that's happening a lot, well, guess what? That's your sticking point. Now, when you go to the theory, you know exactly what to work on to get new ideas. And then when you do find that thing that works, well, guess what? You just solved your sticking point, right? And it's a very clear, very direct way. There's none of this like airy-fairy, lost, confused, where am I at going on, all right? So it's one of the best ways for an intermediate to immediately up their game and blast through sticking points. Finally, let's talk about advanced game. And here I'll speak from personal experience. When you know a lot, it's very, very easy to overgame and overdo things. It's very easy to try and be perfect. It's very easy to overthink a situation. And what happens is you end up making things more complicated than necessary, doing too much work, which actually ends up being bad game, because good game should look and feel like you're not gaming, right? Thing about advanced game is this: when you're at an advanced level, you've already internalized tons and tons and tons of good habits, right? The right action, the right solutions are already inside of you. And so the secret is to simplify and just trust that it's there. All right, it's like the same way that someone who's been doing art for a long time can look at a painting and know immediately if it's good just at a glance. When you're an advanced guy, you immediately know the good game moves. And actually, almost nothing you're gonna conceive of doing will be wrong. As long as you have a good goal and a good direction and you keep it simple, you're never gonna fuck up. You're gonna be high value, you're gonna get things done. And actually, even beyond that, you're gonna come across as extremely genuine and congruent because you're being very simple about everything you're doing, right? The problem with being advanced is you do too much game, too much high value, and the girl's head just explodes, right? You actually stop being normal because you become too smooth. When you just focus on goal, action, adjust, goal, action, adjust, and you're actually focused on the girl as opposed to focused inside on yourself, you're very genuine, you build lots of comfort, you're very congruent, and you're very relatable and charismatic. It makes everything super easy. And again, here you're just relying that you have the good behaviors already inside of yourself. Now, at a glance, it may sound like I'm saying just take action. And taking action is a big part of it. But what I'm really talking about is taking intelligent action, and in a way that allows all the knowledge you have to sort of come through you unconsciously. What I'm saying is you've learned all these things, you've internalized them to a certain extent, trust that they're there and let them come through naturally. And then by using them to determine your goals and take action, you will actually further internalize them as you go. So this is not only the way to get the best results moment to moment, it's also the way to learn the fastest, and it's the way to take all those theories that you've gotten from YouTube videos or from any programs like Valentine University or any of my other programs you may have. It's the best way to take all that technique and theory, because again, I'm a huge believer in skill and technique and theory, but this is a way to make yourself a vessel that technique and theory can come through in a way that's the most natural, most congruent, and most effective. So that's why this process is so critical, is it allows you to kind of open up and have access to your intuition and best knowledge without getting stifled and in your head. So to summarize, next time you're out doing game and you're lost and confused, you don't know what to do, refer to the simple 3-step process. Make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. Make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. Walk into a club, don't know what to do yet, make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. Talking to a girl and you need to take it somewhere, make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. It's going really well, you need to start moving her around, make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. Time to take her home, make a goal, take an action, reevaluate. Over and over and over again. This is not only the fastest and most effective way for you to get a result that very same night, it's also the way that you are going to internalize the skill set that is going to last you for the rest of your life.